Today, we're going to be ranking 4 of the most popular workout routines from least effective to most effective. But before we get into it, I do have to give a bit of a disclaimer. I have tried all of these routines, and also from the research that I've read and other people's experiences as well as my own, it has seemed to be the case that it doesn't really matter which one of these workout routines you choose, because over the course of 3, 4, 5, 10 years, it's all going to level out to be about the same. And just for the sake of example, if you pick one that's not as optimal, you'll still get there. The curve just might take a little bit longer to get there versus you pick the most optimal one and you might get there a little bit faster, but it's still going to level out pretty close to being about the same in the long run. So with that said, as long as you have all the other pieces to the puzzle in place, such as focusing on getting stronger, having excellent technique, working on feeling the muscle work, and getting that proper mechanical tension and getting your sets close to failure, none of these are going to be all that better than the other long term, which just gives the whole preference thing top priority here. So we're going to go down these 4 routines from, again, least effective to most effective based on what I think and the overall balance of each routine. And without further ado, we're going to start at number 4 with the bro split. Now, in my opinion, this is kind of the most fun way to train because you have a very specific focus each day. Monday you got chest, Tuesday you got legs. No, Monday you got chest, Tuesday you got back, Wednesday you got legs, Thursday you got shoulders, and Friday you got arms. And there's nothing like having an arm day, and I haven't had one in a very long time. But that's not the time to talk about it now. This routine is very fun because you just go in, you have that focus, and then you get out. And you can just put a lot of effort into that particular muscle. The thing is, there's 2 downsides to this. One is it does take up 5 days of the week. So if you can't work out consistently 5 days a week, each and every week, it might not be the best for you. Secondly, is it's very pushing muscle heavy. So you only have 1 back day and 1 leg day. And then you have like chest, shoulders, and triceps are being trained on Monday. Chest, shoulders, and triceps are also being trained Wednesday. And then triceps are definitely being trained on Friday. So you're having 3 tricep days essentially, and then 1 of every other muscle group essentially. So that's one of the problems with the routine. It's very imbalanced. It's very much a beach muscle workout routine, but again, it is fun. So if you like training that way, there's nothing particularly wrong with it. You're just gonna have a lot more focus on the pushing muscles. So next up, we're talking the 6-day push-pull leg split. Now this is probably the most popular workout split right now, which is push, it's like essentially chest, shoulders, triceps, back and biceps, legs, and then some people will do that same thing repeated the next 3 days and then take Sunday off, or some people will do it push, pull legs, rest day, push, pull legs, which ends up being the exact same thing across the week, or people are gonna go a little crazy with this because it's not on a 7-day schedule, but people will do push, pull legs, rest, push, pull legs, rest. And that makes it an 8-day workout cycle, which can work for some people, but if you have a very specific schedule or a very chaotic schedule, or sorry, not a specific schedule, a very chaotic schedule where you have different appointments that pop up and life gets in the way, kids have sports or kids have activities, like all this stuff happening, it's not exactly ideal because it just throws off the week quite a little bit and it's harder to keep on track, at least in my opinion. Again, this entire video is my opinion, so that should be without saying, but I have to say it because this is the internet. So that's ranked at number 3, mainly because it takes up 6 or 5 days a week, depending upon how you lay it out, which there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. However, again, a lot of times people don't have that time in their schedule consistently, so it becomes harder to stick to, therefore not getting the results they want to, and then they get backlogged and they think they have to make up for it. Then they start doing 2 workouts in a day, and a lot of people it messes with them mentally to have to work out 5 or 6 days a week. But if you can, it's an absolutely excellent routine. Coming in at number 2 is full body. Now this is something you can do in 2 or 3 days a week. So as far as days of the week efficiency, it is absolutely amazing, top tier. But in order to get a quality full body workout in, it does take a lot of time per workout. There's no half-hour full body workout that's going to really get you some solid gains. It's going to be hour and a half. And if you do it the way that I think you should, where you're hitting a lot of the muscles in the proper way, even if you split it up across 3 workouts, you're going to want to do multiple exercises each day in order to kind of hit everything in the way that you would on the other routines. therefore making a very long workout and very hard to recover from. So if you're short on time per day, not so much across the week, short on time per day, then it does become difficult to do the full body routine. On the flip side though, it is one of the most effective for purely training standpoint, from a purely training standpoint in terms of potential muscle growth, in terms of potential strength gain. And if you lay it out in the way that, for example, a lot of full body routines are squatting 3 times a week, that's going to get you a very strong squat, very good technique squat very quickly because you're doing it so often. You get the practice in, your central nervous system is ready. So as long as you can recover from your workouts, it is absolutely excellent for that. So you have to find the trade-off there. If you can find a way to do them quickly, this would actually be pushed to number 1. But in order to do it effectively, based on everything I've seen, it's really tough to do that. Now, this one is number 1 for one main reason. It is the most balanced routine, upper lower. Now, most people are going to do this 4 days a week. So you'll do Monday, Tuesday, upper lower, and then you'll take Wednesday off, and then you'll do Thursday, Friday, upper lower. And then that way you have 4 days on, 3 days of rest, and it's just a very solid, balanced routine. It's not 5 or 6 days, but it's not 2 or 3 either. And you're getting very even distribution across the week. Excuse me. So with that being said, it is very balanced, but the only thing that is tricky is sometimes these workouts can also be long. So you kind of have to play the balance between, oh, do I want to train chest focused exercises twice a week? Or maybe do I want to do like a chest focused exercise on Monday and then Thursday do a shoulder press focused exercise and kind of split it up that way, like with a vertical movement and then horizontal movement on each other day. So it really depends on how you lay it out, but they can be a little bit more time intensive than, say, for example, the push-pull legs or the bro split. But it all really depends on how you lay it out. But in terms of overall balancedness and evenness across the week, it is a very, very good one because it also does give you a fair amount of time to recover. And since it's upper lower, you're not hitting really the same muscles 2 days in a row or anything really adjacent. I mean, it is on your same body, but not really hitting like chest one day and back where you're using back to stabilize chest and chest to stabilize back and all this other thing. It is upper body, lower body, rest, upper, lower, rest, rest. It's such a good way you can do it. And you can also break up rep ranges. So if you want to train lower reps in the beginning of the week, higher reps in the end of the week, you can do it that way too. I did that for about a year, and I will admit those are some of the best gains I had ever made. And that was back in 2018, but we're not going to talk about that anymore because I'm not doing that anymore. Now, if I had to choose the routine for myself and for my programs, it's actually not even on this list. It's not even in the top 4. And there's a very big reason for the way that I do it, which is a push-pull legs routine, but it's only 3 days a week. Now, what I've found is you can be very efficient, you can be very focused on each day, and it may not be the most scientifically optimal way to do things. However, it is simple, it is straightforward, and gives you plenty of time to recovery and fits into almost any schedule. Essentially what I do is I do bench press, shoulder press, chest flies, tricep extensions, and lateral raises on the push day. On the back day, which is the pull day, I'll do rows, pull-ups, or you could do pull-downs. If you can't do pull-ups, no big deal. Then I do hammer curls I do bicep curls, like the alternating, like rotating ones. And then I'll do crossbody, which is essentially like a hammer curl, and that's that. Would train rear delts, but I don't have cables, and that's the best way to do it. And dumbbell face pulls like really irritated Instagram, so I don't even want to do those anymore. Got 800,000 views on a video, and people are telling me I was doing my exercise wrong. Anyway, a whole story with that, but we're not going to get into that either. But essentially, the only other thing I would add is some kind of rear delt movement, but trying to figure out how to do that here with the weights that I have. Anyway, and then my leg day, squats, deadlifts, sometimes I'll do calf raises, sometimes I'll do abs. And that's essentially, for what I have, that's what I can do. It would be good to add in, like I said, some rear delts on the pull day, like some face pulls or rear delt pec deck, and on leg day, probably some kind of hamstring curl where you're like focusing on keeping the hips straight and then doing the leg curl would be ideal. But the reason I do it this way is because of that, because of saving time. The entire workouts that I do take me between 30 and 45 minutes, 3 days a week. And the reason I do it that way is because I work either I'm working an incredibly early job, or on the time that I'm not working, on the days that I work out where I'm not working, I got my wife and kids that I want to be with and take care of, and I don't want to spend all this time in here working out. So instead, I do very efficient, very focused, focus on strength, progressive overload, training close to failure, and that's how I do it. So again, if you take those principles I just shared right there and apply them to any of these routines, any of them can be good. But in my opinion, if you wanted to choose the absolute best one, most well-rounded, best stable progress, the upper lower off, upper lower off is probably the way to go. So that's what I have to share about that. Do you agree, disagree? Do you have a different routine that you like? Are there more specific routines you want me to talk about? I've tried many of them over the years. Be happy to share about that. But that's all for this one. Go ahead and check out my other videos on the channel. 2 should be popping up right here, so you can check those out. If either of those interests you, go ahead and watch those, and I'll see you in that video. fitdadinnercircle.com/program to check out my program, and I will see you in the next one, maybe tomorrow.